Hi. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's doing well. I would say staying warm, but it's not really stay warm kind of weather. I hope everyone's having a good day or night, whatever time it is for you. Hope y'all have had a good week so far. Sorry, someone just texted me. Oh. Yikes. Yeah. I really wish tornadoes weren't a thing. They're so annoying. Yeah. I think we can get started because I don't have a lot of time. So, grab your Storykeeper's cup, grab a blanket, grab a stuffy if you have one, grab a pet and snuggle up because it's story time. Wyatt leaned closer to look at the screen. I half expected him to try to snatch the computer away so he could apply his superior research skills, but he didn't. There was a Wi-Fi network called Shepherd. Password? I asked. He blushed slightly. I'll type it. Just tell me what it is, I said. I'm not going to come steal your Wi-Fi when you're not home. That's the password, alright? It's a Wyatt, all one word, capital W. Are you kidding? I asked. My mother is a creature of habit, he said. Every time I change it, she finds a way to get logged out. What? Oh yeah, I read that right. And then can't remember the new password to log back in. I finally gave up around 8th grade. Anyway, can I see the research results? Sure thing. I typed in the whole sentence. This book doesn't like me today. Yes, it is a wonderful book. I love this book. Oh, my eyes aren't focusing. Hang on. Yes. After Sunday, the schedule should be normal for a little bit. Keyword should be. Because I have no idea if it's going to stay normal. Where was I? The results were assorted references to people named Henry, Henry Rollins, Henry James, and a movie called the 51st Dates. Not exact matches. What if you leave off the name? He asked. What if we get I backspaced before the I can't talk today. Hi, welcome in. I backspaced through Henry and hit search. A Beyonce song. Well, that explains it, he said. You're being haunted by Beyonce. Oh, this is ideal, I said. He smiled a little, and then put his concentrating face back on. What if you search for Cherish and Henry and movie? I typed it in and came up with a bunch of random, unhelpful results. Nothing, I said. We need to face it. This movie doesn't exist. What if you're right? Wyatt said. Maybe the author wrote the screenplay himself. That wouldn't explain how it got in my house, I said. There are a lot of things in your house that don't seem to belong there, he said. Ugh. I didn't answer. You don't look convinced. I pulled out my phone. I left the page at home because it's so delicate, but I took a picture. Notice anything? Sorry. Wyatt took the phone and zoomed in on the photo. What am I looking for? The letters, I said. The lowercase t is always a hair above the line of the other letters. And the E is lower, he said. So this was typed on an actual typewriter? I nodded. Nobody actually uses typewriters anymore, so it's probably pretty old, right? Yeah, he said. But look, it's a photocopy. See how the corner is just a copy of a dog-eared page? Maybe the original is old, but the page you found isn't the original. Someone could have made that copy yesterday, for all we know. What's Namar? I asked, typing the word into the computer. In the vision I had, the girl thought about Namar. Sorry, I can't talk today. Clearly. Our heads nearly touched. What the fuck happened to my page? Okay, well that's annoying. Anyway, our heads nearly touched as we looked at the screen. Namur turned out to be a city in southern Belgium. I skipped the Wikipedia entry with Wyatt reading over my shoulder. Not very exciting, Wyatt said. University, museum, Beverly, cathedral, Delmar Park. Wait, I said. Delmar, as in... I typed in Diana Delmar, Numar, Belgium. It was a hit. Diana Delmar lived in Numar for 3 years. That's a lot of R's. I read. When she was a teenager. So? Wyatt asked. So, Diana Delmar lived in my house. He blinked. Is this movie about her somehow? I asked. I typed Diana Delmar Cherish, and nothing came up. Wait, look, Wyatt said, holding up my phone. In 2 different spots, someone made a mistake typing cherish. See how it's a letter X'd out? They typed an S first. Try that. It seemed like a stretch, but I typed it in. There, Wyatt said. The very first result was an article titled Diana Delmar, Screen Star of Screenwriter. But a blog called Learning the Craft. Or from a blog called Learning the Craft. The author of the blog was named Paige Paulin. These are some interesting names. Her bio said she was an aspiring Hollywood type, determined to do my homework before plunging into the swamp of Tynesdale Town. I read the blog post. Diana Delmar, a beloved actress in the 1930s, turned her attention to behind-the-scenes pursuits. When she found herself being rejected from roles because of her advancing age, 35, gasp. One of her interests was writing. Rumors swirled around the town that she had none other than Hitch himself. the great Alfred Hitchcock, newly arrived in America following the release of Rebecca. We're celebrating on a project Diana was working on, a screenplay, and hoped to star as the character Cherish. Hitch would detect. Or direct. Sorry, my brain is not working right now. Soon, however, the arrangement fell through. Some speculate that Miss Del Mar would try to produce the movie on her own, but before that could happen, she was found dead in an upstairs bathtub at her own home in the Hollywood Hills. Hi, welcome in. Dead in an upstairs bathtub. Yeah, that just about fit. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. So they changed the spelling of the character's name, Wyatt said. Oh. I just popped like 3 times. Sorry, random fact, I know. But she doesn't say what the movie was called. My voice sounded slightly frantic. How could she not say what it was called? Wyatt reached over and scrolled farther down the page to the comments. Sorry. The first one was called Green Read. Fascinating. What was the movie called? And Paige had replied, Final Honeymoon. It had a different working title. But I don't know what that was, sorry. We googled The Final Honeymoon, but nothing came up. Interest in the project vanished when Diana died. It was strange to think that even the stuff was really important. Sorry, my fucking shoulder is giving me problems right now. Oh, it is called Famous Last Words by Katie. It is one of my favorites. I love this book. To a huge famous movie star would... Hang on, did I skip something? I might have skipped something. Give me 1 second, the pages are sticking together. Oh, no, I wasn't. Could disappear forever except in dusty old copies of Hollywood tabloids. Okay. We need to get in touch with this Paige person. Sorry, I skipped a word. And see what else she knows, Wyatt said. This is a solid lead. I'm not denying that it seems significant, I said. But how does it connect to the murders? Is the author going to use this scene? Does the ghost somehow know that? That would break the pattern, Wyatt said. This screenplay never became an actual movie. Sorry. I breathed into my balled up hand. We're ignoring the obvious answer. That Diana is the ghost? He asked. I nodded. And she knows something about the author. No, let's not ignore it. Let's look into it. Maybe when you get home, you could what? I asked, even though I knew what he was going to ask. Ask her? I bit down on my knuckle and stared out into the dark blue of the morning sky. Oh, goody. In the meantime, let's try and find out more about the movie itself. That's obviously an important part of her message to you. Even if we know who she is, we'd better find out what she wants. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I needed some water. Anywho. Where was I? Even if we know who she is, we better find out what she wants. Alright, I said, going back to the blog. Fine, I'll ask the ghost what she wants, and I'll email Paige. Do you want anything to eat or drink? White asked. My mom is addicted to paying for designer water. For every 4 million bottles we sell, they adopt an elephant or something. Sorry. I'd be happy to bring you a bottle. No thanks, I said. As he left, I opened a new message window in my email. Hi, welcome in. I kept it simple. Sorry, I have an itch. I kept it simple. I read your blog about Diana and her project, The Final Honeymoon. I have some specific questions and wondered if you'd be willing to talk to me over the phone. If so, here's my number. Thank you for your time. Oh, that's so sweet. Give me 1 second. My throat's dry again. Okay. Hopefully that's good for the next 2 pages. I really need to replace that bookmark. Anywho. I hit send and sat back looking around Wyatt's room and trying to picture him there. It was simple and spare, but if you looked closer, you saw some personal books in the corner, a small movie poster, artfully framed. There was more to it than there seemed to be at first glance, kind of like Wyatt himself. He came back carrying a glass of water. Sorry, I'm listening to people talk. Where the fuck was I? How the fuck did I lose my place? Oh, there I was. I read him the email I had sent Paige, and he nodded in approval. But he's distracted. All right, I said. Let me have it. Okay. He looked perplexed. What? Whatever it is you want to tell me, but we're holding back on before, I said. He frowned, then kind of smiled, then frowned again. Well, last night, how do I say this? I figured something out. Something that I think you'll be interested to know. Great. I sat back in my chair, expecting to hear him gleefully recount that Leia actually had a long criminal history of something hit me. He looked nervous, which was unusual. It made me a little nervous. Then he spoke. A normal, healthy adult would have a heart attack from an isolated burst of anger. What? I said, almost laughing. It was so random. And then the words sank in, and it wasn't random anymore. Wait, I said. What? Your dad. His smile was long gone. I know what you think happened, but you're wrong. You didn't off him. It was like my body turned to stone. My voice had turned to stone too. What do you know about my dad, Wyatt? He said. I overheard Leah last week. She said his name, so I googled him and saw how he passed away. With every word, he seemed to be growing sorrier and sorrier that he'd brought it up. But because he was Wyatt, he kept pushing forward. The morning of May 16th, he said, when you guys were at the YMCA for your regular morning swim. He caught sight of my face. I don't know honestly what he saw there. I was occupying my own body at the moment. I felt like I'd been launched into outer space without warning or oxygen. Unwisely, he took my silence as a cue to continue. You had a big argument about something, and the desk clerk saw you storm out of the Notorium? Hopefully I said that right. I don't know, my brain's not working right now. What is a Notorium? I asked, my voice low. A room with a swimming pool. Just say a pool room. Doesn't need to be a complicated word, Jesus Christ. He waited to see if I'd asked anything else. I didn't. And after you went back in, she heard you screaming for help, and then she ran in and saw your... It was like he couldn't stop. It was like he was a machine, a heartless, cold, meaningless creature whose only actual purpose is to spew information. And if he stopped, he'd short circuit and explode. She saw your dad, and then the ambulance came. But it was too late. It was a heart attack. And you blame yourself, and that's why you're afraid to be angry. I let my stare slide from his face to the floor. But it couldn't have been your fault, Wyatt said. Healthy adults don't have heart attacks provoked by anger or stress. That's not a normal psychological response to enough. The word was like a concrete wall 12 feet thick. Enough, Wyatt, stop. I'm sorry, he said. All right, I said. You're sorry, great. Just do me one favor, okay? Never speak to me again. But I turned away, my eyes burned, like they were fighting back a million tears. But the rage inside me was so hot the tears vaporized. I felt pressure in my face, and electrical currents flooding my fingers with every thump of my heart. Oh, whoops, one more page, sorry. Yeah, I'm aware. I'm sorry, he whispered, sounding helpless. I thought you'd want to know. I stood abruptly. I should have listened to Mary, I said. She told me you were a stalker, but I thought, nah, maybe she misunderstood something you said or did. Maybe she was exaggerating. The light had gone out of Wyatt's eyes. He stared up at me, but didn't answer. Here it is, I said. Proof she was right. I must be the dumbest person on the planet. I was actually starting to trust you, Wyatt. I thought we were friends or something. He didn't say a single word. I'm leaving, I said. Somehow I got out of his room and down the stairs and out the front door without losing my mind. And then somehow I made it home, ran up the stairs, and locked myself in my bedroom before Mom could see the look on my face. In my room, I melted to the floor and stared at the ceiling, and somehow, but I don't know how, I didn't die of a heartbreak. And that, my beautiful, beautiful raindrops, is the end of chapter 22. Hopefully, I will be back with chapter 23. Can't promise anything, I might get too busy. But please do tell me your thoughts and theories in the comments. I'm always in those comments, and I love hearing your thoughts and theories. Until then, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, my beautiful raindrops. Stay spooky, stay weird, stay dreaming, and don't let the maid cats bite.